Well, I guess we're live. I can't see myself, so I'm going to blame it on my producers right now who are trying to work the technology out. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rescue Connection Live, and welcome back to a new season. I'm Chris Fader coming to you live from the virtual MedTech studio with our new green screen behind me. And this is the new season of Rescue Connection. I do apologize. We took a hiatus last year, not long after our 1-year anniversary. Military obligations, and there were some incidents. My fire department priorities were needed elsewhere, but now we're back and now we are live. So welcome to Rescue Connection. Decided to kick off this year with a really good group of folks that like geeking out on rope stuff like we do. So if you would give me a nice warm welcome and welcome in from Vertical Rescue Integrity out of Texas, Chris Shaggy Williams and Stephanie Funk Hyatt. Hi guys, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing,
It's
Chris?
going good.
Doing awesome. Thank you for having us, man.
Well, thanks for coming on. This is exciting. Now, one of the things, one of our trademarks at MedTech is I Heart Rescue. The stickers and shirts. And this is a coaster that was given to me as a gift. It's hard to tell because I'm on a green screen. We may be making some of these that say I Heart Rescue. And if we do, I'll make sure I send you a set.
Nice.
Definitely.
So we connected at ITERS, the International Tech Rescue Symposium last November. We had a blast. It was an awesome time. A lot of good information. A couple sessions on medical considerations, which was a big pill for me to swallow because I'm not a medical guy. But it was a great session. That's where we got to really jam. And, I appreciate you wanting to come on. Before we get started, a couple things have happened since ITERS and since our last Rescue Connection. I would be remiss if I did not say that I now wear reading glasses.
Understood.
Looks good.
Warby Parker. I was not happy about this. Funny story. We were at Petzl in July, myself and our training manager, Ed Davies. We were doing a class, and I had to use his glasses to read the serial number on the ASAP lock.
Yeah,
and then I got my eyes checked out, and they were like, "You need glasses." So here I am. Something else that happened over the winter, which maybe folks that follow me on Facebook. I'm no longer on the market. I got married to a wonderful human being, Anna Dario, whose name is now Anna Fader. She's probably watching right now. So hello, babe. I love you. She's actually downstairs because I'm broadcasting from my house. And we got married on a tower. So a lot happened last year. So welcome. Now, you guys are not in Texas right now, right?
We are not.
We are not. We are in Casper, Wyoming.
Casper, Wyoming. And I believe
top secret thing going on right now.
Yeah, so I was looking at, before we get into Rescue Connection, I was looking at Reddit. It's a great website to go to. I did see that Vertical Integrity LLC out of Texas is buying out Peak Rescue. What's going on with there we go. Is buying out Peak Rescue. Hi, Micah.
Oh, hey, Micah.
Yeah, hey. Oh, hey. Oh, I didn't know you were there.
Hi, Micah.
Yeah, it was an opportunity. The company wasn't worth that much. It was like 2 camels and a cow, and we just made it happen.
Yeah.
So, well, you better tell your employee to get out of the back of the shot then.
No, man, on the real, Mike had us up for a week of training this week and has just been an unbelievable host. And we're not even done yet. We still have one more day tomorrow, and we are just trying to soak up all of that man's knowledge. And we are just blessed to be here.
Well, then make sure you get the company at a good price.
Yeah, 10-4.
Out there. So before we get into the nuts and bolts, Vertical Integrity Rescue, why don't you tell the world, say hello to Stephanie and Chris. Guys, say hello to the world.
Hello.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves and Vertical Integrity Rescue?
Go ahead.
All right. I'm Stephanie Funk Hyatt. Funk was my maiden name. And so when I started on rope about 10 years ago, you can't get rid of a name like Funk. So I told my husband, I'm like, hey, do you mind? I'm going to keep Funk when I'm on rope. And he said, you better, because it's a pretty good name.
So everybody knows you.
It's how everyone knows me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I decided to go into engineering because I didn't want to go to 18 years of school and be in medicine. But I still liked medicine. I thought maybe EMT at some point. So I started working in the refinery down in Texas, and I was able to join the emergency response team. Immediately fell in love with rescue and started the medical team down there, and it just quickly became a passion, just an unparalleled passion for me. And I found someone else on the team that has also been harboring that same passion his whole life, and we became fast friends. And the rest is almost history.
Right in history now, right?
Yeah, do you do your intro?
Chris Shaggy Williams. Everybody knows me by Shag. Born and raised in San Diego, California. Grew up bouldering and rock climbing, and kind of went into a rodeo career. Rode bucking horses for about 10 years. And when you retire from something like that, you kind of have something to get that heart rate up. And so I circled back around to life saving, and kind of a hole in my heart is serving my country is something that I didn't do. And quite frankly, there was an opportunity to do so, but I didn't take it. And so I'm going to spend the rest of my days hoping to create lifesavers. And I've been fortunate enough to be the captain of a rescue team for a major industrial complex, as well as an outside, more or less rescue swimmer type rescue team for hurricanes. And Funk was a protege of mine, and unbelievably intelligent. And weirdly enough, my wife and Funk were fast friends and kind of drank wine together when I was out of town. And it was my wife's idea that I reach out to Funk about starting a business. And so we did, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, but and it's just been phenomenal. We cannot tell you how blessed we are.
Well, that's awesome. And you guys are growing. Now you're buying Peak Rescue in Wyoming. So great things are happening.
We're starting small, and we'll
we're
build.
working our way up.
Well, I promise I'll keep that a secret. We don't want anybody knowing the word's out until the deal's done. So,
great.
So if you look to the right of your screen, you can see there's folks that are saying hi, and you can say hi to them and give a shout out.
Hey, L2, good seeing you.
So, Alex, isn't it bedtime for baby Kendall?
Oh, is that the Mister?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hyatt, it's good to meet you.
My wife's trying to join us, but the weather is just killing the internet where she is, but she might pop on here in a minute.
Well, if she does, give her a shout out.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of dive into it. You're up, you're hanging out with Micah. You're doing some. Oh,
wait a minute. There she is. Hey, baby, I love you. Miss you.
Is that
yeah,
her?
That's Miss Lisa.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. That's nice. You know, I'm a homebody now too. I'm actually not. No, I don't know if I'll ever be a homebody, but
we found people to put up with our passion is what we did.
Yeah, well, when I
good person.
After I asked Anna to marry me, she said yes voluntarily. She sends me a text one day, and she's like, "Let's get married on the tower at the competition we were doing in Phoenix." And I'm like,
"That's such an awesome story."
Love it.
And then, of course, you know, a 4.5-year-old daughter, she climbed the tower twice. She did it better than a lot of people I know.
Nice.
And it was just an awesome event. So it was the event. It was a great wedding.
Right on.
So she doesn't come up barging in, killing me. So you guys are up doing some rope access this week. So, and then you had mentioned tomorrow you're doing some GRIMP stuff. So let's dive into that. Stephanie, you are on the GRIMP women's team, correct?
I am. We are going to be making history this year out in Los Angeles in March. I am on the first ever all women's GRIMP team. It's called Yes Ma'am, and there's 7 of us. We are coming from Germany, the Netherlands, Ireland, Spain, Canada, Japan, and the great country of Texas. So,
little known facts: Texas is a country.
Yes. So the first time we're ever going to meet each other in person is going to be 2 days before the competition. So we've had several different Zoom meetings and chats, and we're on WhatsApp all together. Just all so excited to get to do this. It's historical, and I'm honored to be part of it. And it was, you can either call it luck or you could call it fate. I'm not sure which one it was, but we were in IDERS when Micah got a message asking if he knew any other female rescue tech that wanted to be on the GRIMP team. We were on a bus out to elevated safety.
Yep.
And I'm sitting 2 rows back, and he goes, "Hey, Funk, you want to be on GRIMP?" And I was like, "That's a crazy idea. No way." I'm like, "Wait a minute. That's an excellent idea. I'm in."
I'm still a little mad that she made a GRIMP team before I did, but I'll let her have it.
Well, don't worry, you're not alone. But this is interesting because think about where we are today, and would this have been possible pre-COVID? Do you think you would have been able to embrace technology the way you have with regard to the Zoom team? Because
No
you're
way.
bringing 7 cultures from all over the world with, on paper, it's all the same rescue skills, but we know as well as everybody else, it's not.
It's not.
So you're having to kind of gel cultures, language barriers, terminology, colloquial terms, and then you have 2 days before major competition to get on the same page.
Yes.
How is that going to
like
happen?
you said, it's doable. Like you said, just having 2 years to kind of get used to interacting in this way, the way that we are now, you just kind of do workarounds and figure out a way to do your training. And one of the ways that we felt we'd be the most successful to get her fired up for this was to get up here and spend some time with Micah and work on her individual skills. And we have no reason to believe that won't be a seamless kind of push into awesome team for this year.
That's awesome. I'm really excited for you. I hope you take lots of pictures, and I'm going to have you back on after Grim because we're going to talk about it. Maybe we should have the team on if I can figure out how to have 7 people on here.
That would be awesome.
So time zones are really tricky.
Yeah.
Minor
That's
details.
a little wild.
Getting all 7 of us. I think I was up at 5 and Canada was up at 3 a.m. And then it was like 9 or 10 p.m. for Japan. It was ridiculous. We were all over the place, but we want it. We love it. And we're going to do it. And we're going to crush it.
Yeah, you are.
Well, you know what the best part about that, though, is whether you come in first place or last place, I think you're going to get out of that more than you put into. And the knowledge you'll get is well worth it, which, God bless you. I can't wait to see the feedback.
It's going to be awesome.
That'd be great.
So let's kind of shift gears. Shaggy, I've never met anyone that said they were a cowboy for 10 years and then gave it up and now they teach rescue.
Yeah, I've had an interesting life. I've been very blessed. My parents moved me to Texas right about the middle of high school, and I'd grown up riding skateboards and that kind of thing, and I moved to a little town that didn't even have sidewalks, and I had to find something else to do that was interesting. And a few of the guys that I was in class with were rodeo cowboys, and my grandfather was a rodeo cowboy. And I thought, well, I've never been on a horse before, but I'll try to see if I can ride a bucking horse. And it turns out I was had a small amount of talent and was able to kind of work my way up to be kind of a big fish in a medium-sized pond, and just had a wonderful time. And it kind of prepared me to kind of just continue to take chances and do things that made my heart beat. And rope rescue is one of them. And then, like I said earlier, just the passion for passing this on and creating lifesavers is what we both live for. And I feel sure we were going to build this into a huge deal that gives us every opportunity to create as many as we can.
Awesome. And so you're basically a cowboy that also worked in refineries. Funk is an engineer that has an engineering background that does some stuff in refineries.
Yep.
One of the things that kind of attracted me to the conversation was MedTech started in refineries 35 years ago. And, one of the things we try and teach our folks, and even the firefighters, rescue technicians that we train, a lot of what's accepted in the fire service is not accepted in industry, and half the stuff we do in the fire department with respect to, I don't want to say a lack of safety, just not a good understanding. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
I'm assuming that's where vertical integrity was born out of. But how did you guys decide to just, come together and, say, let's just try something. Let's just start this company and make it work and, see what happens. And that's a big deal in today's world, especially, a couple of years ago.
Yes.
You want to take it?
Yeah. So we worked, like I said, we worked together. We were both on the emergency response team and the rescue team down at the refinery that we worked at. And we'll come back to this as well, but we did competitions called IRECA, International Rescue and Emergency Care Association. We did that as a team, and that really helped us grow as our skill sets. And then eventually I sold my soul and I went and worked at our corporate office. So I was unable to work in the refinery anymore. I couldn't let it go though. I couldn't stop doing rope rescue. So, we, like I said, we became fast friends and we just kept talking. And all of a sudden, like one day I remember vividly driving down the highway up in our headquarters building, and he's telling me something about what's going on down at the plant. And I was like, I have this crazy idea. And he's like, all right, tell me about it. I'm like, we should start a company.
I pulled over. I literally pulled over because I never thought that would come out of her mouth. And my wife, Lisa, had mentioned it earlier.
Like months before.
Finding that right partner. And I kind of named all of the skill sets that I needed in a partner because I needed her to be strong or him or her to be strong in things that I was weak in. And when I named those things off, Lisa was like, you have her. And I was like, who? And so that had happened prior to this conversation, but Funk had kind of sold her soul to this process of doing what she was doing. So I didn't mention it. I wanted to continue to talk to her. We spent a bunch of time on the phone when I was going to different training things for other people. And I kind of let her come to it organically. And when she did, it was so profound. I had to pull over and we kind of finished this conversation and Jesus, look at us now.
Yeah. So that was about January of 2020 is when he started talking about this.
At the height of COVID.
Almost.
Yeah.
We incorporated
we didn't know it was
we didn't know yet.
Yeah, we didn't know how bad it was going to be, but we also realized that there's no pressure to perform at that point. The world shut down right as we were ramping up.
So we had almost a year and a half to just methodically build our company. We made sure the logo was right. Branding was right. The website. We spent time putting all that the effort in on the front end and really nailing down what we wanted to do as a company. And, if you go to our website, it tells you straight up that, we are wanting to do everything with integrity. And we're going to give you a product that's worth more than your money. We set those things off right at the beginning. And to both of us, it's just important that the more we can affect more lives if we do the teaching. It's an exponential effect. Now those people can go and teach and save more lives. So just as soon as that idea, and then we went home and I talked to Alex, my husband, and he was like, that's a great idea. You guys should do it. And I was like, what? We should do it? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, go for it. You're good at it. You love it. Shaggy's good at it. He loves it. You're perfect together. And here we are, almost 2 years later, and training with Micah Rush at Peak Rescue and getting ready for Grimp Day.
Well, he is a rescue professional.
Yes, sir.
Just saying, there's maybe a video out there.
I think
so you talked about an organization, IRECA?
Yes.
IRECA.
Did I say it right?
You did.
You did.
International Rescue and Emergency Care Association. It's actually the oldest rescue competition on the planet. 1948 was their first competition.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. My training manager is probably watching right now, and he's probably giggling because I didn't mess it up. So competitions, I love competitions like anybody else, but I didn't know much about IRECA until Ed told me about it. So who are they? and what do they do?
It's a kind of an interesting concept. The best way to describe it is the various states have like gifted and talented programs for young kids in high school, and they can perhaps become a pilot by the time they graduate from high school or something like that. In on the East Coast, I guess, there is this organization that spends an exorbitant amount of time training these young human beings up to that paramedic level. And what they do is have their own competition, like a BLS type basic life support. And then they become our patients for our competition. So not only do we get to watch them and judge them on theirs, they get to kind of be that patient and learn empathy and that side of the game. And so it obviously adds a lot of stress when you've got live patients. And we see these, especially over the long time we've been in this competition, we've seen these young kids grow into life-saving adults, and it's just amazing watching that process.
So I reckon the competition. So is the competition similar to that of GRIMP, or some other competitions? Is it about first place, second place?
Certainly, there's a podium, and we've been fortunate enough to podium the last 5 years that I've the last 5 years we've been on a team, and the key to it, I guess. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I just did it. Just happened. Next.
I was going to go somewhere else with it.
Go for it.
Go ahead. You go, Steph.
Different competitions, I guess, within the whole week of competition.
That's where I was trying to go.
So you have the main event, you could call it, is the seven man team, and that's you get about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to accomplish the scenario.
Heavy rescue.
Heavy rescue.
Small medical.
And you have a certain amount of, you're only allowed certain amount of equipment.
That's where I was going.
You have very limited
if it was
amounts.
The same as GRIMP. The main difference between IRECA and GRIMP is bring whatever you want as long as you can carry it to the next iteration.
Okay.
IRECA, it kind of goes along that article I wrote, Uncomplicating the Complicated. They deal with a very small amount of gear, and you have to be able to do a large amount of things with it. So they're kind of grounded in that small gear set versus those other competitions being in bring whatever you want. And so it definitely has it's a niche in that competitive arena, if you will.
So it's do more with less.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Five pulleys maximum.
Which is
for the 7-man team.
For the 7-man team, one rope grab a piece, no ascenders. You got to do everything old school uppercut using Prussics. It's insane.
No pre-rigged.
Nothing's pre-rigged. It will definitely expose you if you don't know what you're doing.
Are you using brake racks and figure eight plates?
You could.
Some teams do, for sure. It is definitely an interesting deal next to some of the other competitions out there.
Well, there's some folks I know that would probably have a hard time with using a brake rack, or probably more an 8 than a brake rack.
Yeah.
But so the organization's been around a while, and our training manager actually has some of their documents on his desk, and I believe he's trying to incorporate some of their practices into what we do at MedTechs, because like you guys from the refinery, it's more with less, small team skills. Mm-hmm. What you have is what you have, and you may not be able to just bring everything under the sun like you can GRIMP.
Exactly. That brings up another point, is one of the other challenges is a 4-man team. So realistically, you're in a turnaround or in the refinery.
Middle of the night,
Christmas Day, and it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to show up? Probably 2 or 3 people.
Right.
So you got to know what to do with
just a small amount
of people, small amount of gear, and make it work. And so it's the same kind of same challenges a little bit shorter time, a little bit easier.
More medical
More
centric.
medical.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other competition is the BLS competition. And that's where it's so fun to see the kids. I call them kids. They're 18, 16, 17-year-old
16, 17.
Kids. And this is what they do for a living. They love it, or they're hoping to do for a living. It's just really cool to see them as passionate about something as we are. Go ahead.
Is it, and I know there's probably a couple people watching right now that are just gonna do one of these yes when I'm sorry, that way the green screen does it. They're just gonna go yes when I say this publicly. Unlike other competitions, is this more medically driven than rescue driven?
I would think it's more medically driven. The problem you get with GRIMP per se is a EMTB in Dallas, Texas is different than whatever they call it in Germany or whatever. It's super hard to have international competition and be heavy medical because frankly, the protocols are not even in the same sport in some cases. And we've even seen that in IRECA where we've had some South American teams come up and play. And we had a deal where, somebody didn't have a heartbeat. And one of the teams from South America was like, we don't work on people that are dead. And they hung a black tag on their toe. And so if you see something like that, can you imagine if a big competition like GRIMP Belgium, where you have got people coming from all over the globe, it'd be really hard to make a competition that was kind of fair across the board. It would just be a nightmare trying to put medical protocols next to each other. So it's kind of an interesting, different deal altogether.
But I would imagine, again, I'm not a practitioner of EMS, but there are some skills that I think are international. There's an international language, like cardiac emergencies, bleeding control,
Exactly.
CPR. Like those things are worldwide, which you could probably include in some capacity. But IRECA, a lot of those skills are more heavily medically directed than
for sure.
Just road.
Especially in the 4-man, it is very heavy medical. You usually have 2 medics on your team and 2 rescuers, and everyone's wearing multiple hats because you got to work with less. And so that's really where I enjoy it because I'm a medical person. I did get my EMTB, so I really enjoyed the BLS challenge because it really gave me a chance to
kind of grow.
And they do some great moulage, and they have actors, and it's realistic. And so it was fun. It's fun.
The old axiom that you kind of fall back to your highest level of training and that kind of thing. And that's something that Funk and I have not believed since early in our careers. It's super possible, even for high-speed people, to fall well below their highest level of training when stress is involved, especially in that industrial side, which is kind of the IRECA thing. It's one thing to show up to somebody dying of something and you don't know them. It's another thing to have had dinner with them the night before. And when you're at a big facility like what we worked at, you're very likely to know these people. And stress can really get in the way of being successful at saving someone's life. And that competition, hands down, has prepared me to handle that stress in real life. And I just cannot sing them praises enough.
Well, so it's funny you talked about the stress level. The competition we were at in December, there was a station an event that we did where, for a very brief moment, stress got the best of me. And we're not saving lives in that event. It was about doing a skill, not about saving lives.
Yep.
And, I think one of the takeaways from competitions, whether it's that or GRIMP or IRECA or whatever, to me, these competitions are incredibly important. Yeah, it's a competition. You want to win. But at the end of the day, you want to bring back that knowledge and training because you can't mimic that in a training tower. You can't mimic that in a confined space prop. And, the value to that, especially that one that is quasi heavy medical, I think is very important to the success of building future
It
rescue.
absolutely happened to me.
Yep.
Absolutely. I was up on a roof, a flat roof, mind you. I was on a roof.
Well, it wasn't quite flat.
Okay,
but
it
you
had like
thought
a
it was
5-degree slope
Yeah,
to
you
it.
thought it was like that.
I thought I was dying. It was the end of the world. I was like a cat. I was just
Yeah.
flat on my stomach. I was like, I can't move. I'm done. I can't do it. And it's the 4-man team. And
She's totally fine 400 feet in the air hanging off rope, but put her on a roof with any kind of slope, the world is coming to an end. Not anymore, though.
No, not anymore. But yeah, my medical partner was like, "Hold on, Judge. I have to take care of my my other medic. She's
Ronnie.
having a panic attack.
Ronnie saved you that day.
And then we'll get back." And he's like, "All right, get your head in the game. You're fine." I was like, "Okay, yep, I'm good." But having had that freak out moment in a controlled environment, I know what to look for now. I know how to handle it.
Yeah, you
So-
look at somebody like Micah. It's not. It is not a surprise that he is as successful as he has been at saving lives, because that guy's been competing from rock climbing all the way up to fireman challenges and 100-milers and just any number of things. He hones his skill set in that high stress, high heartbeat environment, and you can tell in real life when he has to go do it that the effects on him are much less than other people, and is a testament to what competition can bring to bear on your skill set. Unfortunately, a lot of people are a bit allergic to kind of hanging it out there in front of their peers too, though. It's a tough environment to walk around knowing you're pretty good and then having to kind of put it on the line in front of people. A lot of people shy away from that.
Mm-hmm.
They do. And, one of the things I've learned over the years, going on 27 years in the fire service, I think early on in my career, I was young and energetic and presumptuous and a little cocky and arrogant and that sort of thing. I think those things are important to humble people. So you can be that, that humble person, that just stand up guy or girl. It's taken me a long time to get to that point to be that person. But, I think people need to step on their, what, or have that experience, like being a live victim.
Yeah,
I'm an advocate of using live victims in the right training scenario.
absolutely.
That can really develop somebody beyond any classroom presentation you could ever do. Just being in
I
the
agree
Stokes finish.
100%.
And I think
100%.
that's where those competitions come in handy.
Yep.
So vertical integrity rescue, you guys obviously do training. And
Hey, Craig.
oh, there we go. We got some Jack Lease is saying hi, Craig.
Oh, I didn't see him.
We vertical integrity. You guys do technical rescue training.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll talk about your van in a couple minutes. So what's the focus of training? Are you training firefighters, industry? Are you doing both? Are you blending? What's the scope of what you guys are doing? Then we'll talk about the article.
Interestingly enough, when we were doing the COVID shuffle and kind of writing down what we thought was going to be our bread and butter, it was kind of natural to think that it was going to be that industrial piece. That's where we kind of walk around most of the time. And pleasantly enough, I think we're something about 50-50 between paid fire and industrial right now. Okay. And super enjoying it.
And I think that's important because you're able to blend. Obviously, the industry stuff pays a few more bills than the fire service does. But at the end of the day, you're still teaching life-saving skills.
Absolutely. And the thing with fire departments is, they're going to, that's their full-time job. They're going to use it on a daily basis.
Right.
And the industrial, they're usually either volunteer or voluntold, and they don't see it as much. So it's not the same urgency. Yeah. If that's the right word.
There's certainly teams out there that on the industrial side that are just as solid as you can get. Mm-hmm. But there is that other side of the spectrum where they're just trying to put in whatever that amount of time they have to put in they're as soon as they're done, they're done. They don't care too much about it. And when you, like you said, when you get in front of paid fire people, they are just on fire for this. And so we just didn't know how fulfilling it would be to serve those men and women, and we are blessed to have them as clients.
All right, so let me ask this question, and the person watching knows who this is for. Having been up to, looking at Peak, purchasing them, and having gone through rope access training, would you say rope access now, having that level of training, has contributed to your success as a rescue technician?
Oh yeah,
Just
it's night and day almost.
For the record, I believe that we will grow to a point to offer rope access as a service to our clients, but we didn't do that when we decided to get this skill set. We did it because we wanted to make our skill set that much better. And certainly, I'm not new to rope access in terms of understanding some of the movements they make, because coming from a kind of a rock climbing background with rebelays and that kind of thing, I was at least familiar with some of those concepts. But now that we've had time to sit down with Micah and Topher and Eric from Peak, I cannot tell you how much we are looking forward to going back to Texas and kind of downloading this into some of our clients. I think everybody should have at least rope access one. It's an unbelievable skill set.
It allows you to self-rescue. It really easier to self-rescue, and there's skills that I could do it as a rope rescue technician, but they're definitely much easier now, and I feel a lot more comfortable too.
Yeah, those pro tips were something else, weren't they?
Yeah, and I agree. Part of that was just, there's someone in my circle who feels a little bit differently about some of the skills. It's just a little ball breaking. But, at the end of the day, here's what matters. Whether you're doing ITRA, IRATA, IRECA.
There you win it. You did it.
I did it right. To me, at the end of the day, if someone goes out and gets training outside of the regular routine fire academy classes that we teach in the fire service, that's what matters. Is it tells me they want to go out and better themselves. They want to invest in themselves, and they want to see what else is out there, and they can bring it back to their agency.
Absolutely,
and that's what matters.
Yes.
And for MedTechs, it took us a number of years to really evaluate: do we want to do this as a company, and can we teach it? Thankfully, with the support of Micah and Peak and Toph and Eric and those guys, the relationship has been awesome. And this is really what it's all about, is collaboration.
It is.
We want to uncomplicate the complicated.
10-4.
Which,
that's
exactly
right. That was a nice segue,
Excellent.
Sir. Nice segue.
Okay. So let's talk about that. There's an article out there. Well, my producer is slowly bringing up. Let's talk about what exactly you mean by Uncomplicated the Complicated. What's the article about?
It's a bit of a sales pitch, and I say it right up front. If it sounds like I'm promoting competition as a way to hone your skills, I'm doing that, and I'm certainly pushing people to look at the IRECA way. You don't have to, buy in 100% to any one thing, but I think that Funk and I kind of look at rescue as a toolbox. There are certain things in the toolbox kind of down at the bottom that you don't need that much, maybe a torque wrench to those guys that are in that field. You only use it every now and again when you need to get something just right. That screwdriver is going to be at the top, and that's going to be the kind of the thing you reach to all the time. But you should have a full toolbox of things that are available to you. And the way that you are able to make the most out of your toolbox is to learn how to use each item in several different iterations to facilitate a successful rescue. And IRECA taught her that. And we just kind of want to continue to push not always buying the latest and greatest thing. I'm certainly, manufacturers are making unbelievable products with 3D printers and that type of thing. They're coming to market a lot quicker than what they have in the past. But you should probably know how to use whatever that widget is in every way possible before you start going out and buying that next thing. Because honestly, gear doesn't make rescue techs. The ingenuity of the human being makes the rescue tech.
And kind of like the competitions is anybody can have a descent control device
Mm-hmm.
or a micro pulley, but the way some of them use that
Yes.
uniquely is what makes it uncomplicating the complicated, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need, well, it's just not realistic to have a rack that, that weighs 30 pounds. It's
Right.
not necessary. We've all, I've certainly been there as a climber and a tech, where I felt like the more stuff I had on me, the cooler I was. And we all know now that we've got some age on us and time in the business that the guy that usually has the most shit on his rack knows the least. The guys that are slick and, one pulley and some dental floss and a cigar and can pull off just unbelievable rescues, you might want to pay attention to his ability to use his gear.
Yeah.
And we feel like, everybody wants to manage the bottom line. We don't necessarily sell gear or push toward a particular gear. We definitely have some relationships. I even have a hat on now. Rescue
I see
Direct
that.
is an awesome. We have an awesome relationship with them, but we're not here to sell gear. We're here to teach you how to use gear. We're not even that married to a piece of gear.
No, just use it the most efficient way possible.
Absolutely. Tell us what you use, and we'll show you how to use it 10 other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we go. I
Yeah,
see, Greg.
it's funny when you say that because one of the things I really got out of Sprat when I got my level 1 years ago, for years you're taking classes in the fire service or at the fire academy, and you're learning a couple ways to do things, team skills. But I wish I had taken Sprat 20 years ago. One of the things that most impressed me was how much you could do with a handle ascender, a foot loop, a pulley, a couple carabiners, and a positioning strap.
I have shocked myself this week.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
it
correct.
really is. And I've made the comment, you really need to. I'm waiting for my producer to make my screen a little bigger. He's probably taking a sip of whiskey right now. There we go.
I'll join him.
I've been saying this a long time. Sometimes you may need to have this much training to be able to dial it down and make it very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because if this fails, you got to escalate it. And, I believe a lot of these we'll call them GRIMP style skills. You have 2 or 3 things and 4 of you come together. Now you have 4 or 8. I really believe that's what makes better rescuers. And, thinking outside the box, getting some new ideas, learning from other people. I talked to a number of other people I've had on the show, conversations with competition, and they've sent people out like we do to get professional development. And that's going to be key, like you guys are doing. Well, you're about to buy Peak, so.
You talk about that professional development, though. I think that definitely needs to be mentioned. You can call it any number of things. I call it inbreeding. I don't think that it's an intelligent move to start a company or to be owning a company for any amount of time and just continue to kind of regurgitate that same party line to your people. You're limiting their ability to grow and learn new things. And when Steph and I started this business, I think possibly day one, we were like, look, we each get X number of thousands of dollars a year to go do our skill set with somebody else, to bring back those tools. And we've seen companies that are kind of allergic to doing that. And I don't think that you should be. I think there's certainly our level of rescue techs. I don't think they fill a big room in society. I think we're kind of a small niche group of human beings. We should play nice to each other and intermingle like you and Peak are, we are right now. We certainly spend a lot of time with Ronan. Mike and I are going to teach Rescue the Rescuer with Ed at Ronan this summer. Don't be afraid to spend time with your competition. They're especially the ones that are not allergic to lifting you up versus, kind of breaking you down. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's, there's a circle of my peers that we go out and do things. And to some people it may be, going out and, and why are you doing that? I mean, the reality is, even you talked about Mark. I had him on. He was at someone else's site for the whole week doing training with his instructors. Just, like MedTech doesn't own how to tie a knot.
No.
And there's some things we do that's proprietary, but at the end of the day, nothing I learned, I developed in my backyard. I learned from others, and then like you guys are doing, you're going to adapt what works for you back in your world, and then you're going to share that with your folks that hire you for training. And I think that's development is the key. And
something else I took away from this week that I did not expect, and actually just came to me, is not only learning new skill sets, but being instructors, learning how different instructors teach us.
Absolutely.
And learning their style so that we can maybe reach different students. Everyone has a different way to learn, and I never even thought about it, but
yeah, the rope access kind of skill set, you don't have a group of students standing around paying attention to one thing. You're very likely to have access 1, 2, and 3s all in the same building. There's people at all different levels, and the instructors are kind of milling around, and they'll stop, and we'll all kind of turn in and pay attention to something. I think we're pretty good as a company of doing that already, and that's why we've been successful, because we try to reach everybody the best we can versus kind of regurgitate one thing and whoever gets it, that's the success rate. We want to reach everybody that sits in front of us, and to spend time with Mike and his guys and watch them work the room. We definitely took we're taking pro tips back to Texas that are going to just help us.
You have to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One of the most nervous audiences I get in front of when I teach at MedTechs is industry, construction workers. If I'm teaching, I don't do a whole lot of OSHA 10 and 30 anymore because I'm not comfortable teaching that because I don't do that every day. I'm a rescue guy, right? So there's nothing more nerve-wracking than teaching a subject like electrical safety to electricians.
Yeah.
As a non-electrician.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I loved about working, at least at MedTechs in your world and industry, is talking to these different clients. How you talk to an emergency response member from a refinery may be different than how you talk to a boilermaker or a carpenter in construction, which is going to be different than a firefighter.
Absolutely.
I mean, you really got to shift gears. One's there for a different reason than the other. One's there because they have to be. One doesn't want to be there. One's for the free lunch.
Sure.
And I think
Absolutely.
That's what really makes us successful. And you're bringing back these tips. You got your dartboard. You'll throw darts at what you want to talk about today in your audience, and that's incredibly important. And the fire service as a whole, as a fire instructor for the last 17 years, we don't do a great job of teaching fire instructors how to be adult trainers on how adults learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
very good point.
The Mike and his crew, talking to you Iders and some of the stuff that you're doing and how you, how you get buy-in from people. Once you get buy-in, you got them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think, again, you just, if you only know one way to do things, or maybe one or two ways to tie a knot, for instance, there's several ways you can tie a butterfly, right?
Yes.
I've had great instructors that swear by only one way, and that's the only way they show it. And I get that way. I'm not talking down to that. But what about those other people in the room that their brain doesn't work that way? It's important when people pay you money to hopefully, impart your skill set that you're going to give to them at their team and save lives. It's important that you do everything you can to help them be successful. So it's important that we know 6 ways to do everything, right? But not only, it's not even about all the time about how you do something, it's how you deliver it verbally and then
Right.
back it up with your actions. And we found that if you are not married to any one thing, I could care less how you do something as long as it's right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And we just keep circling back and kind of making it a fun, happy environment, low stress. And what's our one negative feedback we get on our?
Yeah, we don't give enough breaks.
We don't give enough breaks. That's our negative feedback so far.
Well,
If that's what I'm known for, I'm golden.
then I'll take it.
Yeah.
Mine hasn't been like that, and some of the people I have. But at the end of the day, we put out a good product like you do.
You've seen a lot more people than us today, but we're hoping to be something like you in the end.
Well, it took us 35 years.
I don't have 35 years left because I'll be 176. So we're going to have to speed this up a little bit. That's why we bought Peak today. And I think we're probably going to buy Ronin tomorrow.
Probably.
Yeah, I think we're going to buy Ronin. I don't know yet, but we're calling Canada here in just a minute.
Okay. Make sure you get them on the American exchange, not the Canadian exchange.
That's a good pro tip.
Good tip.
Yeah, it's a good pro tip. Thank you.
So as we start to wrap up, and I forgot to tell you, once we go offline, stay on.
Oh,
Don't
for
forget.
sure. We already talked to Mike. Would you talk? You talk like an hour and a half afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're drinking beers.
Okay, cool. I'm drinking iced tea.
Or now.
There we go. So the big question: how can people reach you?
Our website, verticalintegrityrescue.com. You can email us, info@verticalintegrityrescue.com. I don't know if our phone numbers are on the website, but
do we really want to give our phone
probably
numbers
not.
out?
Yeah.
I'll give you hers, but I'm not giving you mine.
No. So yeah, reach out to us online, shoot us an email, and we'd love to hear from you. Our
Absolutely.
Facebook, Instagram, I think just those two.
Yeah, so far.
Okay. And folks that are watching, if you're in Texas, like I said, we connected with them at IDERS. It was a blast weekend. We had a lot of fun, a lot of knowledge. I drank a lot of soda, which I'm trying to quit. They drank a lot of adult beverages, and it was a great event. Guys, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day, because I know you're up there doing some gnarly rope stuff with a good crew. Folks that are watching, got any questions? Shoot them over to Shaggy and Funk. And again, guys, I appreciate you being on. Welcome back to a new season. And as I bring up the calendar, our next session will be February 22nd, which is a Tuesday. I will be broadcasting live from Vegas because I'll be at the NATE conference. But
nice.
We are going to be, I shouldn't have said that loud. I was told not to say that. Sorry. You guys should come to Vegas for the NATE conference.
But before we get off, now that I lean up, I see I've got my mother-in-law. I've got Jeff, got Pamela, Leslie, LaDonna. Thank you all for supporting us. My beautiful wife, Alex, her husband. No shit, we're not here without the human beings that they are.
We almost made it.
Well, I get emotional when we talk about our families. Yeah. We could not do this without that just uncompromising support from our families, and we are just blessed to have that kind of support to help us save lives. And we just keep earning it every day, and we just hope that we do as good a job as we intend to.
Well, because of that, next time you guys are in Philly, you can buy me a cheesesteak.
Absolutely.
Sounds great.
February 22nd will be our next session. Join us 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Sean Cogan on. I hope I didn't chop his name up. From Harkin Industrial. It talks about Harkin and some of the things that they're doing. So again, everybody, thanks for joining Rescue Connection. We hope to see you next month. Shaggy and Funk, thanks again for coming on. Everybody have a great evening.
Yes, sir.